Well, the Kansas State University Fighting Wildcats played a varsity football game tonight, and we're going to talk about it. It's 3 months. Hello, everybody. We're here. John Cole. I'm left pretty speechless. Look, K-State lost 23-17 tonight to Arizona. Brent Brennan celebrated like he won the Super Bowl, which, look, good for Brent Brennan, I suppose. I feel good for him. I just also kind of feel bad for him because I don't think his team's very good. And I don't know that he's going to get real far with this team the rest of the way, but I guess they've got a nice start at 3-0. Maybe that can be like a 5-win team. Boy, they outgained K-State by about 220 yards. Arizona's starting running back, Ishmael Mahdi, outgained K-State by himself as one singular player, one singular entity in this game. It was not good, ladies and gentlemen. Not a good effort at all. This team is down bad. Frankly, I think Big Cat of Barstool fame, which, not my favorite thing in the world, but he is very funny. I will give it to him. Big Cat, I think, summed it up. K-State is mega ass booty cheeks. I'm not sure that anybody could have said it any better after watching that performance tonight. Cole, your thoughts?
I felt like I was watching a Ron Prince coached football team for most of the night, John. So, yeah.
Cole, I'm so rattled by that. I didn't even get the Ben Holiday bottled and bond bourbon read in. Like, I didn't even do that. I'm so flabbergasted. Would you like to take this one for me? You want to pick us up? Shout out Holiday Distillery.
Yeah, well, I appreciate our partners over at Holiday Distillery, and hopefully everybody gets stocked up with it. You're going to need it for this K-State football season to get through it because, folks, this is an awful football team. They're not going to get things corrected. That was evident tonight. Look, even if they won this game, even if they found out a way to come back at the end of this game, it was clearly evident as you watched it that this is a team that's probably not going to a bowl. They're going to be a disaster. Everything is on the table for them. I really felt like, John, in the first half with the guys that were just streaking wide open for Arizona offensively against the K-State defense, that I was watching a Ron Prince defense. And yet somehow the offense made me feel worse than the defense at the end of the night, because at the end of the night, the defense gives up 23 points, a couple missed field goals that play a part, obviously, in that. But, the offense was a complete disaster. And I don't know what to say. I miss Connor Riley. I am sorry, Connor Riley. We miss you. You should maybe come back to coach at Kansas State. The offensive line is an abject disaster. The play calling is a disaster. And I'll just be frank, I don't like to point the fingers at the players, but Avery Johnson was very poor tonight on a number of possessions. That last possession of the game, he was bad. So, third-year quarterback with his experience, it was a really poor performance. I was trying to check the numbers, John, but I'm pretty sure at this point it was referenced to me, and I was trying to validate it. But this does appear to be the worst start for Kansas State football since Bill Snyder's first year in 1989. So I have now I'm at 2010. I'm through the 2010 season. Bill Snyder's 1989 football team started 1-3. No team has started 1-3 since. So Chris Kleiman and this team started off with a 1-3 season with losses to Army, a bad Arizona team, and a near loss to an FCS mediocre squad in North Dakota.
So, I mean, that's the thing, dude. Very easily could be 0-4, and looking at what game are you winning this year? Cole, this is how I summed this up to Nick, our producer, before you hopped on here. Difference between offense and defense tonight. I do at least appreciate, I mean, the defense had a couple, I mean, they had moments where like they looked like they were fairly consistently trying, at least after the first maybe like quarter and a half. From that point on, I mean, they did okay. They 6 points in the second half, some embarrassing angles taken. I mean, maybe the most embarrassing play of the game was that like 3rd and 17 dump down.
Yeah.
And Daniel Cobbs takes a horrible angle. I'm sure there were others. But the defense looked to me like a unit that regularly practices the game of football, which is ironic because I think they didn't practice as much this week because they were so tired against Army. But the offense, do they look like a unit that gets together and organizes practices every week? I mean, like, dude, it is so disjointed. I have no idea what the plan is. But, I mean, there are problems everywhere. You're right. Avery Johnson was awful, and I think he has been not like low on the list of problems, but there have been many problems above him on the list throughout this season. Tonight might be the game where he's closest to the top in terms of the problems. But beyond that, it's like the guy does have no help because he's got a mediocre at very best running back room. Dylan Edwards, you could see right away, makes a difference when he had like a carry or two with a little bit of burst, but then he gets hurt and he's gone again. They probably should have just not played him tonight, based on the way that it went. Who knows what the status, what his status will be moving forward from here. But, dude, the offensive line, I mean, they cannot turn around and hand the ball off and run a conventional running play without 2 defenders in the backfield by the time the back is getting the ball, or Avery himself sometimes. Like, in defense of Avery, they tried a design quarterback run at one point, which we've been clamoring for and yelling and screaming for, and they just let a free rusher come right through, just straight past the offensive line before anybody can even like look up and do anything. And Avery has no chance. I mean, I do not. It's crazy. Connor Riley must be. We thought he was a good offensive line coach. He must be one hell of an offensive line coach, based on the way that thing has dropped off. I mean, they were reaching for guys to throw out there to play on the offensive line tonight, just looking for somebody to step up and hit somebody or do something. Receivers continue to drop passes, and then I get it. I just outlined all these different issues, so it's hard to have too much of a plan if you're the offensive coordinator when this is what you're getting in terms of what's actually out there on the field. But Cole, like, what is the plan? What is Matt Wells trying to do exactly with the offense? Like, the only thing they can do remotely well is throw the ball down the field, and they waited way too long to try and go to that more. And then even when that started, RG3 was doing a really good job on the broadcast of pointing out all the times that Avery was just being a one-read dude, and like he kind of like misread the coverage on one of the go balls that he threw to Jace after he had completed the back shoulder. He just tries to go to it again. It's not the right throw based on the coverage that was there. So now we're back to Avery having problems just with confidence, not wanting to run the ball, locking on to one guy once again, which happened multiple times in the game, and just not being able to like really read or diagnose or check out of things. I mean, the whole operation is just such a mess from top to bottom that I don't know where you start in rebuilding it at this point.
Yeah, no, they have no identity. And Chris Kleiman said on the post game with Wyatt Thompson and Stan Weber on the K-State Sports Radio Network that he's not sure what their identity is right now. And I mean, I think that's probably an accurate assessment. That's unfortunate, but they can't run the football. It's the worst running team, obviously, in the Kleiman era, and honestly looks like the worst running team that I don't even know how long I'd have to go back. I mean, this offensive line play is among the worst that I think you and I have probably seen in our lifetimes, John, from a Kansas State football team. I mean, they can't pre-identify a blitz. They can't pick up a twist. They can't pick up a stunt. They have no idea what the hell they're doing out there. There are free rushers coming off the edge. They don't slide protections. There's pre-snap issues. And some of that's on Avery Johnson and the coaches as well, that they can't read the defense pre-snap and understand what they're doing and make an adjustment. I mean, one of the runs that you mentioned, John, I think Curry, he had mentioned in that one of those quarterback keepers that Avery ran, like, I don't want to like that. That's just a play that you can't be running it there. I mean, they have a free rusher coming up inside, but it wasn't going to work regardless. Like Avery Johnson one time, John, like they get a 6-yard run from Antonio Martin, and this is back in the first half. So they're in 2nd and 4, and then they run a read play to JB Price motioning. They immediately took Antonio Martin off the field. They run a read play to JB Price motioning, and Avery Johnson just falls. Like, come on. Like, you're supposed to be an athlete, and you're just tripping over your own feet and losing 3 yards. Like, Avery Johnson also got away with 2-3 horrendous throws tonight that could have been interceptions where he doesn't see the safety and he's throwing it into double, triple coverage. Like, this is a guy that has started enough games by now. He should be able to read what the defense is doing. And it is clear that he's not. They are not making pre-snap adjustments. They can't identify things pre-snap. They're not getting into the right plays. And I swear, John, if I see another one of those 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2s where they run a little dump off on the same play to the tight end that gets nothing, like we saw against Iowa State, I'm going to lose my mind. I mean, actually, I'm not, because I'm checked out.
I'm with you. I'm checked out.
Like, it's incompetence. It's coaching malpractice that Matt Wells continues to go to that. I don't know what the hell Matt Wells is doing. I mean, the predictability of this offense is just – they run on the first play of the second half a 75-yard run to Jace Brown, and then it's right back to the same old stuff. And, I mean, John, if you look at the final tally, they ran 53 plays. They gained 193 yards. 75 came on one play. So what's that give them? 118 yards on the other 52 plays. So basically 2 yards per play. And then if you look at over the last couple of weeks against Army, and I know you had limited possessions, but you had one offensive touchdown against Army. And then in this game, you had to rely on a muffed punt to get a field goal, which was a disaster of possession in itself because you marched backwards 11 yards, and Luis Rodriguez has been the best thing about this football team. Who knew?
Yeah. Hey, Simon McClannon averaged 51 yards a punt tonight on 5 punts, dude.
The special teams is really getting it right back on track. Unfortunately, they continue to have a turnover rate of 1 per game, which is a bad thing to have. And I criticize myself for this because I said punt team looks solid at one point, and then the next possession, Sterling Lockett muffed the punt. So a turnover per game from the special teams unit, but that's not even – honestly, Nate Katzer might be the best thing about this coaching staff right now.
I'm not even kidding. Nate Katzer, I apologize, my friend.
Yeah, you're honestly –
You are running circles around the rest of this staff right now. Nate Katzer, and it ain't perfect. It ain't perfect, Nate. We can get better, but you are running circles around the rest of this staff right now, buddy. So I do apologize for that. Legitimately.
Yeah, Nate.
Where would this team be tonight without Nate Katzer's special teams? Now, some of that too is like, I mean, Arizona's punter just dropped the ball.
Yeah.
That did help. But, without that, I mean, Cole, that's where the point comes in about like Arizona just looks like an awful team too. I mean, if Arizona just played competent football, I mean, K-State loses by 28 tonight. Yeah, and to be honest, I kind of wish they had, like, just to emphasize how bad this is, like what's going on here.
Yeah, John, Arizona's not a good team. And, the thing that's really disappointing about this is I know they hired a new defensive coordinator in Danny Gonzalez. He was the linebackers coach and special teams coach at Arizona last year, and they promoted him after they moved on from their D coordinator. But they were one of the worst defenses in college football last season. And to be completely candid with everybody, they didn't bring in that much new talent. Like, they are not that's not a good defensive team. Arizona fans will take issue with that statement because they'll say, well, we didn't give up a touchdown in our first 2 games to Weber State and Hawaii, and then look what we did to Kansas State. I'm telling you, when they play good teams, it's not a good defensive team. All Arizona did tonight was they just brought pressure, and K-State just pissed down their leg. Okay? K-State doesn't know how to handle a blitz. They don't know how to handle pressure. Avery Johnson's numbers against the blitz and under pressure are horrific. And that's frustrating because Avery Johnson is a guy that when they do bring pressure, he doesn't use his legs to try and evade the pressure. He just throws off his back foot 50% of the time and makes a bad throw. Instead of when teams bring pressure, oftentimes 6-7 guys, if he can evade the pocket and get out on the edge, he can make that into a big play. If you were to watch tonight's game, who do you think a common fan, like somebody tuning in for the game tonight, would have thought is a better running quarterback, Noah Fafita or Avery Johnson?
Yeah, I mean, dude, and I mean, you made the point, I think, when this happened in our group chat, they have to go to Jace Brown to accomplish something from basically like a quarterback run play, like conventionally. They have to snap the ball to Jace Brown. And it's like, Avery, you're faster than Jace Brown. Avery's in that 23-mile-an-hour club. Jace Brown was not. You are faster than him. Look at how Jace Brown ran the ball. Like, why that can't happen, I do not, for the life of me, understand. I don't. It is, Cole, it is. Nah, you know what? I'm gonna save that for the top storyline.
Okay.
Let's break real quick and come back to this, because I think it's the most insane thing about this season and what's happened to K-State. So we'll be right back.
Looking for tickets for your next event? Tickets for Less is your #1 source. Save big on every purchase when you use promo code KCSN at ticketsforless.com.
Just a short drive from Kansas City. Experience the history, the heritage, and the bourbon at Holiday Distillery. Tour Missouri's oldest distillery, where real Missouri bourbon is made the old-fashioned way. Walk the grounds, taste the tradition, and take home a bottle of something special. Make the trip, sip the story. Holiday Distillery, Weston, Missouri. Book your tour at holidaydistillery.com.
What's up, guys? I'm BJ Kissel, founder and CEO of KC Sports Network, and I'm here to talk to Kansas City businesses. If you rely on technology, you need an IT support team that's not just another vendor, but a true IT partner. That's how I want to introduce you to my friend and neighbor, KJ Miller. He is a VCIO at ThrottleNet, the Midwest's highest rated and most reviewed IT support company. They've been in business for more than 25 years, helping companies stay secure, productive, and ahead of the curve. They aren't just IT support, but they provide data security, IT strategy, and cloud software services. They do it all, and their reviews show they do it better than anyone else. So if you want to hear about how ThrottleNet can help your local business, join the conversation with myself, KJ Miller from ThrottleNet, and our resident genius from KC Sports Network when it comes to IT, at least as he's affectionately known by us, Mr. Craig Stout. Click the link in the description to hear how ThrottleNet can help you.
All right, calling all Chiefs fans. You could be on the field at the 50 inside GEHA Field for the official coin toss at a Chiefs home game this season. Visit Chiefs.com/GEHA now. Enter to win a chance to be on the field for a once-in-a-lifetime view of the pregame coin toss. Plus, you can score other exclusive prizes. Enter for a chance to win at Chiefs.com/GEHA. GEHA is the proud partner of the Kansas City Chiefs. I see Drew in the chat says 2-10, but beat KU. I'd take it right now. Guys, let me give you a little heads up here. Somebody tweeted me earlier when I said, like, which games is this team winning the rest of the way? And someone was like, Kansas and UCF. Guys, we need to have a serious conversation here. Okay. I'm just telling you right now, this is an important thing for you to hear. And I hate to be the one to have to deliver this news to you, but between now and October 25th, I would highly suggest that you get your affairs in order. Okay. Everything that you need to do, whatever you've got to do to mentally prepare yourself, perhaps physically prepare yourself, make sure that you have a will, make sure that you know where everything is going, make sure that you are comfortable and secure with yourself and your football fandom. Maybe you want to give it up. I'm telling you, get your affairs in order before October 25th, because it will not be pretty. It is not going to be pretty. That will not be a fun day. That is going to be 16 years of frustration by the fan base taken out. And for Lance Leipold himself, that's going to be, what are we at now? 4 years, but particularly 3 years of frustration that is going to come raining down from the football gods. So I'm telling you guys right now, get your affairs in order. prepare yourself, hire somebody if you have to, whatever it is that you need to do it now. And Cole, by the way, that message goes for you too.
I've been prepared for actually a little bit of time now. I've been more accepting of it than I have historically. Kansas State is not beating KU this year. The streak will end. Kansas State fans do need to brace for that. This team doesn't have the heart, the guts, the talent to beat Kansas. They're going to march into Lawrence, and they're going to lose that football game. So, yeah, I would encourage all Kansas State fans to just prepare for that. This team is going to be remembered as an abject failure for Kansas State football. They are not riding the ship. We talked about that before. And they are going to be the team that ends the streak against Kansas as well, which will just be, another line in the record books for what will be one of the worst K-State football teams dating back to Bill Snyder's first year in 1989.
I can remember in 2008 when it was very obvious where things were going in the Ron Prince era. It was very obvious what was going to happen when K-State went to Lawrence to play that football game. I made it a point to go. Now, I did, luckily enough, I was dating a girl. I was in college at that point. I was dating a girl who went to the University of Tulsa. So I was able to just plan a getaway. I got out of town. I went to Tulsa. I didn't even watch the game. They lost like 52-20. Josh Freeman tried to stick the ball over the top of the pile at the goal line and got it punched out. It was an embarrassing affair all the way around. And I made plans. I had my affairs in order. Okay. So this is just from me to you guys. I'm just trying to help you. I'm not saying that you got to go find somebody in Tulsa to date, but whatever your version of finding your college girlfriend in Tulsa is, plan it for October 25th. I'm telling you right now. Okay. I'm telling you right now. All right. That's not our top storyline. But this is courtesy of our friends at Elenco. Make sure you go to elencohome.com. That's ALENCO home.com. Thank you to Elenco for helping with all your home improvement needs. Cole, the fact that Avery Johnson, the same guy that rushed for 5 touchdowns on a Big 12 football team in his true freshman season, has now had his legs rendered completely lifeless and meaningless. They are not a threat at all. The defense does not have to worry about Avery Johnson's legs at all. Just 2 years later, as a junior, when you should be building and getting better. This was the same Arizona team that gave up 100 yards rushing to him last year. They have neutered Avery Johnson's legs. And I know people on Twitter, I know Avery is a part of that too. But I think it's very clear. It's been coached into him to not be confident running the ball, not look to run the ball, not try to take off. Noah Fafita, you said it, Cole. He's a pocket passer. And he had a feel for like, hey, I'm getting some heat. I need to make a play. I need to move around. He had some crafty, like kind of old man basketball game to him to make some plays with his feet. And he was 10 times the running threat that Avery Johnson was tonight. Like, that is truly an accomplishment in college football to, as an organization, have rendered Avery Johnson's 23-mile-an-hour speed completely meaningless and useless on this offense. It is unbelievable. I have no idea how they managed to do that.
25 carries now for 62 yards on the season, John, through 4 games for Avery Johnson in a year when we were talking in the preseason pods that we thought he might be Kansas State's leading rusher and that the rushing game would take an extra step for him as he got healthy. And now he looks far worse as a running quarterback. He has no intent to run. On the final drive of the game, where it was a 3rd and 6, and he could have taken off and ran, and he didn't. And he forced a bad throw. And as a result, they ultimately end up in a turnover on downs. Like, there are multiple. RG3 pointed it out on the broadcast. Like, he does not want to run. And it is clear that it has been coached into him. Avery Johnson is at a fault too. You got to sometimes just rely on your instincts. But Noah Fafita tonight, John, at the 5-minute mark of the first quarter, had more rushing yards, a career high in rushing yards at 33 than he had in any game in his career. And he's played 30 games. This was his 30th game tonight. Noah Fafita hit the 33-yard mark on his 3rd carry tonight with 5 minutes left in the first quarter. His career high in rushing yards in a game was 24. And obviously he broke that. he had 2 rushing touchdowns in his career heading into the night. He had 2 rushing touchdowns tonight. Even the Avery Johnson touchdown run, John, I don't even think he got in on, and that should be a TD run. That's an emphatic touchdown for most quarterbacks with his capability. And I will just say once again that when you get into a 3rd and 3 or a 3rd and 2, and it's 4-down territory, if I am an opponent fan base, I'm sitting there thinking, oh, they got this dual threat quarterback. They're going to be able to get 2 yards in 2 plays to get a first down. And yet when we're watching the game, we feel like 3rd and 2 is like 3rd and 20.
Might as well be a mile. Yeah.
Like I mean, look what they're resorting to. The thing about the baffling thing about what Matt Wells is doing with this offense as part of that, John, is he's when they do roll Avery out on those plays, he's got the tight end right near the line on a little 1-yard route. So you've got the defense already coming up to make a play. Like I'm not an offensive coordinator. Clearly, I'm not a coach. These guys are smarter than me. But I am baffled by what they are doing from a philosophical schematic standpoint to utilize his legs. I really don't get it. I mean, John, tonight, Chase Brown has 6 catches for 68 yards. The next leading receiver was Jerron Tibbs with 1 catch for 6 yards. And that's talking about receptions, right? So that's a little bit of a different thing. But they can't run the ball. And we thought this receiving core would be deeper and better than what they had. It's not. Jerron Tibbs has 3 crucial drops on big plays in 3 straight games. I mean, the one that Avery threw up to him one-on-one, he's got to make that play.
Yeah, you're right. I forgot about that play. Yeah.
Like that's 3 straight weeks over the middle of the field. You got this big-bodied wide receiver you brought in. He can't make the play. Then you watch Trey Spivey, who transferred from Kansas State, make a play, and Logan Bartley drills him over the middle of the field and gets thrown out of the game for targeting, and he hangs on to the ball. Who's the tougher team? Who's got the tougher players, the tougher mindset? This isn't a debate of Trey Spivey being better than Jerron Tibbs. That's not what it is, but they got a receiver willing to go over the middle of the field and hang on to the football. And I've watched the guy that got hyped up all offseason in Jerron Tibbs 3 straight weeks not hang on to the football or catch it going over the middle of the field in crucial situations for what could have been big plays. And so that's a mindset thing for me. That's separate from the whole thing about running the football. But this team, you went from the 2nd leading team in the country in yards per carry last year and set the school record in yards per rush to being maybe the worst rushing team we've seen in 30 plus years at Kansas State, probably closer to 40 years. The numbers may not tell you that, like from a yards per carry standpoint. That's because Chase Brown busted a 75-yarder tonight. But K-State ran the ball 24 times for 105 carries. 75 came on a Chase Brown run. The other 23 carries resulted in 30 yards. I mean, it is staggering. A 3-yard run feels like a huge success.
No, that's what I was. Yeah. The Antonio Martin had this was a 3 and out, of course, but Antonio Martin had like a 4-yard run on 1st and 10 in the second half where he just kind of lowered his head and moved forward. And there was actually a little bit of a push from the offensive line. Now, Martin, all he can do, he's not really elusive, shifty, anything. He wasn't going to make a move, but he could take the ball and run from point A to point B when the offensive line had pushed some people back a couple of yards. And I felt like running around without my pants off, celebrating in the living room. I mean, it was like, wow, there weren't 2 guys crashing in on the ball carrier as soon as he touched the football in the backfield that time. I mean, that is where we're at with the running game. I guess interesting observation. Did Joe Jackson even have a single carry tonight? I mean, he played a little bit, not much. They did legitimately move on from Joe Jackson, but it sure doesn't look like the other options there are much better. We didn't really see Devon Rice either. It was like JB Price and Antonio Martin.
Stupidity. I don't know what they're doing. Devon Rice hasn't been a problem. All of a sudden, and look, Joe Jackson hadn't been good. I mean, I've been critical of his play through as well. But like, if you're going to bench Joe Jackson, yet he's in the game on the last drive of the game, John. So it's like, oh, we're going to bench you, but now it's crunch time. We're going to put you back in the game. I don't know what was the driving decision behind that. And It doesn't matter. Like, your offensive line is awful. They have a 7th-year senior at guard that doesn't pick up twists and stunts and blitzes, and these are experienced football players, guys. I mean, Andrew Langang too. Like, I'm not picking on him tonight necessarily, but like, you've got a lot of guys that have played a lot of football, and they don't know. They don't look like they know what they're doing out there, and that's incredibly frustrating. And so, I mean, just look at the last few drives of the game, John. So you tie it up at 17. You get the 75-yard touchdown from Jace. You get the muffed punt hold from the punter, drops the ball, and you get the ball at the 13. You end up 13-yard touchdown drive on 5 plays. You tied at 17. And then you go 3 and out, turnover on downs, 3 and out, turnover on downs, turnover on downs. That's how you concluded the game. So when you had all the momentum and you get an Arizona interception on a trick play, and good teams would capitalize on that and make Arizona, like, if you're an Arizona fan after that interception, you're like, oh my God, I can't believe we're going to lose this game.
Yeah.
We dominated for 2+ quarters and we're going to lose this game. But what's Kansas State do on the ensuing drive? JB Price run for a loss of 2 yards, incomplete pass on a 3-yard out route to Braden Lofton, where that was clearly the primary read, and then an incomplete pass to Jerron Tibbs. 3 and out, Arizona ball at the Kansas State 45. They kick a field goal. Then 6 plays for 35 yards, turnover on downs, where you got a 3rd and 6, incomplete pass to Jace Brown, and a 4th and 6, incomplete pass to Jace Brown. Then a 3 and out, the turnover downs, 4 plays, 7 yards, and then 7 plays, 15 yards, another turnover on downs to conclude the game. So the offense, outside of that 75-yard run from Jace Brown, like, I mean, let's be honest. The only reason they scored anything tonight was they muffed a punt, and K-State got a great kick from Luis Rodriguez, and then their punter dropped the ball. And K-State still managed to put themselves in a disadvantaged position in a 3rd and 16, and they converted to Jace Brown off of that. So just a complete failure by the Kansas State offense. Curtis Siebel of 810 Radio, he had a tweet. I'm looking for it. Last Kansas State starting QB to throw for fewer than 90 yards and rush for fewer than 15 yards was Grant Gregory in a 66-14 loss at Texas Tech in 2009.
Oh, boy. Boy, do I remember that one. Mike Leach was coaching that game. May he rest in power.
Yeah. So that was a brutal one. I looked at the yards per play and the total yards, John, the Navy game and the bowl in 2019, and then the Iowa State COVID season. Those were the 2 other games in the Kleiman era where they averaged a lower yards per play and then a lower total yards. And then you got the 2015 game at Oklahoma, coincidentally, which we talked about on the KCS pregame pod on KCSN as the other one in 2015. And so those are really, this one and those 3 are the 4 worst offensive performances dating back to at least 2010. At least. I haven't looked at the 2010, but I know the 2011, 12, 13, and 14 teams didn't do worse in a game than this team just did tonight.
Yeah, that's bringing up Grant Gregory. Generally not a great thing. Now, I did kind of appreciate Grant Gregory.
Grant Gregory had guts, John.
He did. Grant Gregory was a tough son of a bitch. You're right. Yeah.
That they could use a Grant Gregory on this team because you know what? Like, that guy's shoulder was hanging by a string.
Yeah.
That year. And he was willing to lay it on the line and to punish defenders and get after it. He was not that talented, but he played his ass off. And that 2009 team was sitting there playing in Lincoln against Nebraska with a chance to win the Big 12 North. He's not nearly as talented as an Avery Johnson. He laid it on the line all the time. I want to be clear. I'm not putting all of this on Avery Johnson. They are a complete disaster up front on the offensive line. The coaching staff has completely failed this football team. But Avery Johnson's got to be better too. You know, he's paid a lot of money and he was coveted and he has not lived up to the hype. So he takes the brunt of this as well. but it is a complete failure of a team. There are issues. Like, we were sitting there watching the game tonight, John. I wasn't with you, but like the people I was with, we were discussing, like, what feels worse right now? Is the defense the problem? Is the offense? Like, it just felt like an all around failure across the board. They've got issues everywhere.
Yeah, that's the thing. You made that Ron Prince comparison. I mean, Ron generally had an offense. Like, they could score some points. They were just going to give up 60, I mean, sometimes 70. So that was the issue. Which also made it at least like a little more fun sometimes. That 2008 team was like tied at 28 with Oklahoma before losing like 56-28. I mean, this was zero fun to watch, man. A chore. You know what it reminds me a little bit of too, Cole? And hey, who knows? Maybe they'll have a little stretch run like what we saw from this team that I'm about to mention. But it reminds me of what it was like watching the K-State basketball team at the beginning of last year. Like, I feel like we could see this early on. You could really like see it. Certainly North Dakota. You could see it. You're like, oh, this is not. And it reminded me of watching some of those non-conference games early in the year, like Mississippi Valley State for the basketball team last year, which just like, oh no, like this looks very bad, very disjointed. They've got deep-seated problems. This is not just like, hey, it's going to be slow. It's going to take some time to come around. And obviously, because of the number of games that you have, it comes at you a little bit faster in football than it does in basketball. But I'll let you think on that, Cole, while we take another break. We'll be right back.
What's good, everyone? It is KCSN betting analyst Benny Heiss. Something hit me as I was driving to the Missouri side, ironically, for something not available on the Kansas side. I cross over. I just can't get over how long sports fans in the state of Missouri have been waiting. It feels like forever. Good news is you don't have to wait much longer, because DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app, is finally coming to the Show Me State. And if you're thinking, yeah, but I got to wait on the sidelines until December 1st, it's not true. You can sign up right now. And when we go live, new Missouri customers get $300 in bonus bets just for placing a $5 bet. $5. That's not even as much as a pumpkin spice latte that's going to take over. So it's not some ragtag sports, but this is DraftKings. You got live in-game betting. So if your team starts hot, you could jump in mid-play. There's lightning fast payouts. None of that wait 3 days for your money nonsense. And you've got more ways to get in on the action. There's no better way to start. It's all from your phone. When we go live, you'll be betting with a sportsbook trusted by millions, safe, secure, fast withdrawals, everything you want. Well, except maybe a guarantee that your team will cover the spread, but that part's still on you. So here's the move. You download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, use code KCSN, and when we go live December 1st, that $5 bet turns into $300 in bonus bets. That is code KCSN in partnership with DraftKings Sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus and physically present in Missouri. Eligibility restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 7 days after they are issued. Excludes customers who redeem pre-launch sign-up offer. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos.
I'm Brett Goodwin, one of the owners of The Learning Tree. The Learning Tree is a neighborhood toy store in Prairie Village, Kansas. This has been here in this location since 2000s, and my husband Alan and I purchased the store in 2023. Alan and I grew up in families where we've always wanted to have a business together. Alan grew up, for instance, his parents had a jewelry store. I worked in a local toy store here in Prairie Village when I was growing up. When this opportunity happened in 2023, we knew right away we wanted to contact them and pursue the store. We wouldn't have been able to get the store without the team at Emprise Bank. From the day we contacted them, they knew what we needed to do, which was very helpful. I would absolutely recommend the team at Emprise Bank to anyone looking to secure a business. We worked with Emprise from day one. They were extremely helpful. They were always great resources. We talk to them frequently. They know the area. They're very friendly. We know who we're going to talk with, and they know what we need to do. We hope we'll see you at the Learning Tree.
Okay, you had plenty of time there, Cole. Your thoughts on the comp of watching this, seeing the problems very deep-seated to what we saw at the beginning of the basketball season last year?
Just get me to basketball season this year, I guess. Please, let's hope that that's the solution. I was kind of in denial at the start of basketball season last year, John, as you know.
What?
And,
you were? Wow, I forgot about that.
And I think we can all attest that I've probably given up on this team far earlier than I did for K-State basketball. I kept telling you guys last year, as you know, to wait. I was going to wait till late December, January to really judge them on basketball. I've seen this now really since the postgame show at Iowa State, but I was still hoping they lost by 3 to Iowa State. The North Dakota game, the alarm bells were going off, and then watching everything unfold last week, it was like, I don't think they're going to fix this. I think there's a lot of issues when you watch them play, and we do the all-22 with Curry. And then tonight, you just watch the game, and you're like, Arizona's not a good football team. They tried to give you every chance, and you still found ways to not capitalize. So I think it's a good comp, but yeah.
Now, I mean, I did have the thought go through my mind today during the game, like how did this team stay within? Now I know it was basically a 10-point loss to Iowa State, right? Falling down at the 1. It's like, how did this team stay within, hey, get one defensive stop late in the game and you've got a chance to go drive and beat Iowa State? I mean, I think some of that first game of the year, all the things that we said, we're frustrating about that game, field sloppy and teams being, first game of the year, rivals that know each other. I think that's actually what actually kept K-State in the game, as opposed to at the time we were wondering if that's why K-State lost the game. I think that's probably part of what actually kept you in the game in retrospect. And look, Iowa State, obviously a much tougher team capable of handling adversity and bouncing back from that. Cole, did you see in the group chat this Chris Kleiman quote from Postgame Radio?
Yeah, I saw it, John. I was going to wonder when you were going to bring it up.
Okay, well, this is the part of the show where we typically rage against the press conference. So here it is. Chris Kleiman on Postgame Radio. I thought we knew our identity after game 1, but we don't. No excuses. All right, I'm not arguing there. This open week is about resting the guys, recalibrating, and figuring it out. The toughest part of our schedule is behind us. Excuse me? The toughest part of our schedule is behind us? You play... How many games, Cole? How many games is Arizona winning this year? I'm going to go 5. Army, I guess I don't really know the American well enough. Probably Army probably wins 6 or 7, maybe. North Dakota, they were 5-7 last year. I'll give them 6-6 FCS team. I mean, now Iowa State I think is very good, but excuse me, that's the toughest part of your schedule. Cole, it drives me nuts. That's in essence almost still like a retroactive excuse about going to Ireland, playing a service academy, and playing on a Friday. It's almost like just tripling and quadrupling down on that even more. I'm so tired of hearing about that. I mean, first of all, you've got the veto power on that. According to Gene Taylor, Chris Kleiman is the one that made the ultimate call on playing in Ireland. You did that to yourself. You could have gotten out of a game with Army. You guys scheduled it. It's driving me nuts. The excuses about the schedule and continuing to do that, man. This was not the hardest part of your schedule. Were there some quirks that made it a little trickier? Yeah, sure. But you were the team picked by the coaches to win the league. How much money was spent on this roster? There was an Illinois fan, I think in the chat earlier, that was saying, okay, State has no money. It's recruiting. No, there's a lot of money pumped into this roster, just like last year in basketball. There was a lot of money pumped into that roster. When that type of resource is allocated to your team, you can't be complaining about the murderer's row of playing Arizona on a Friday and North Dakota and Army. I'm sorry. It's pretty frustrating, man.
Yeah, I don't know if he's referencing travel and everything. Okay, that's a silly thing to bring up. I mean, from a competition standpoint, the schedule only gets harder, obviously. So, I mean,
Cole, sorry to cut you off here. Let me give you this run of games, and let me ask you. Okay, we know how this run of 4 games went. How about at Baylor, TCU, at Kansas, Texas Tech?
0-4.
Well, okay, obviously, but you put the same effort out there that you just put out there. You're not losing, Benetti and that crew threw up the graphic about all these 1-score games, right? You're not losing those games by 1 score. Those are not 1-score games, man. You're going to lose by an average of 30 a weekend if this is what you put out against that stretch. So, I mean, just to underscore the point there about toughest stretches of the schedule.
Yeah, I think going into the season, that was listed one of the analytics sites as one of the second toughest stretches, 4-game stretches in the Big 12. Yeah, I mean, they could get killed in those games. And ultimately, Noah Fafita tonight goes 16 of 33 passing, 5.4 yards per pass. So the numbers don't look overly inflated from that standpoint, but you see the guys running wide open at various points. TCU, Texas Tech, Baylor, they will kill this Kansas State defense. And the problem is the offense doesn't look like it's capable of even, competing in a shootout. We thought at least the offense would be able to stay up, and they can't. And Dylan Edwards gets hurt again tonight after the first quarter. He doesn't come back into the game. I think they made a mistake in playing him tonight in the first place. Should have just rested with the bye week coming. Who knows, though? So, yeah, like the Chris Kleiman's not winning a lot of press conferences right now. What he says with the media, it doesn't leave you feeling too good. But there's not a lot that he could say, frankly, that would make anyone feel good right now with the product that's being put on the football field. So it does feel like, I think DY is right, though. Like DY said it numerous times on our show. Like, I feel like he wills excuses into existence. And like when you hear him say things like that, it's like, are you really rationalizing and using Ireland and playing in the heat in Tucson on a little bit of a short week and playing an Army team as the reason? Like, that's ridiculous. Come on. Like, these are teams you should beat regardless. Good teams beat these teams. They don't really beat them. They dominate them. And so, look at tonight's game, John. K-State came into tonight 128th in the country in time of possession, 36 minutes to 24. And they played Arizona, an up-tempo team. Seth Dagey, the offensive coordinator, he doesn't want to win time of possession. They want to run tempo. They want to score fast. And they had the ball for almost 37 minutes to K-State's 23. There are 136 FBS teams, and they were 128th coming into tonight. And they lost time of possession to Arizona, almost 37 minutes to 23. It's staggering.
I mean, they can't run the ball. I mean,
yeah, you can't run the ball. Yeah,
you can't. They can't run the ball. So
the other thing is, John, they came into tonight 105th in the country in third down conversion percentage, 12 of 35, 34%. And tonight they go 3 of 13. So now on the year, they're 15 of 48%. Or, God, I misspoke there. They are 15 of 48, 31% on third downs. They can't stay on the football field. Again, some of that's play calling, some of it's execution, a lot of it's offensive line too. But yeah.
Can I point out a couple things about Arizona?
Of course.
One, the Brent Brennan not only punted on like a 4th and 2 around midfield, but the play that got reviewed, which they had obviously got the first down, but they initially called short. He had started to run the punt team out on that one too, on like a 4th and inches. Like, Brent,
yeah.
Have you looked at the stat sheet, my guy? Like, the K-State is giving up conversions on 4th down at a rate of like 85% this year. And that's not an exaggeration. It was 8 of 10 coming into the game?
10 of 12.
10 of 12. Okay. Brent, what are you doing, man? What are you doing? And then Seth Dagey, my criticism of Seth Dagey would be, now I get it, Cole, you're probably going to tell me, well, K-State's offense was averaging 2 yards a play. Like, okay, I guess, but man. And then if Seth Dagey would have just handed the ball off every single snap, I mean, I think Arizona, frankly, just tried to pass the ball too often, or that also would have been uglier.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Ismail Mahdi, the Texas State transfer running back, he had 74 yards through 2 games coming tonight. He had 189 tonight. K-State had 193 yards on a total offense. So Mahdi pretty much gained and matched what K-State did offensively. Yeah, John, I was going to say, like, I was laughing kind of at him wanting to punt too. But at the end of the day, he's probably thinking this K-State offense isn't going to do anything driving the length of the field anyways.
Yeah.
So I guess I could.
No, my only comeback to that would be you did give up a 75-yard touchdown run. Like, and K-State they have guys that can run fast in a straight line. Now, like, I don't know how exactly that translates to the football field as we're watching, but they do have players that can run fast in a straight line. Jace Brown is one of those, and he got loose for a 75-yard touchdown run. So I don't know. Okay, maybe it's not quite as bad just because the offense was so dreadfully bad. But
the two longest runs of the year this season, John, are Jace Brown.
Yeah, so that was a point I was going to make when you were talking about the yards per carry stat. You would take out like 100. It was 33, right, against Iowa State. So 33 and 75. So you're taking out, subtract 108 yards and 2 carries from the rushing total, and then give me what it is. And that's your ground game, man. I mean, I will say it's very obvious. I know it was only like 4 carries that Dylan Edwards had, and some of them there was nowhere to go, including the play that he re-injured himself on. But you could definitely see. I mean, Dylan Edwards just has so much more juice. It's not just the straight line speed. It's just like a burst. It's quickness. I mean, it would help a lot to have him. But you can't have the drop-off be that bad in your running back room. They told us how good Joe Jackson was. Go get a better transfer if the running back room is in that kind of shape behind Dylan Edwards. I mean, what they did is they went out and got the kid from Nebraska who couldn't even stay healthy, and then Antonio Martin, who they didn't feel comfortable playing at all through the first 3 games until they decided to use him almost exclusively somehow tonight. And I mean, he just, whatever. We don't need it's not his fault. But all he can do is just take the ball and run straight forward. I mean, that's about it. Yeah, I don't know. Look, I hate to bring this up, man, but oh boy, is this absolutely look at Jeremy Gonzalez in here. What is the defensive coordinator's name?
Oh, hey Jeremy, nice to see you. I see you're an Arizona fan. Your football team's not very good, but Kansas State is far worse. So
you did just beat perhaps the worst Power 4 football team in the country based on what we've seen so far this year. So there is that.
Yeah, but Jeremy thinks we're a loser podcast. I appreciate you watching, Jeremy.
Oh yeah, well, Nick is right. UCLA does appear to be worse, which may need to change. Actually, I got to think about that. How we evaluate Utah a little bit. Probably good news for Texas Tech heading into that game next week.
Yeah.
What was the point that I was?
Wait, is Jeremy Gonzalez related to Danny Gonzalez?
That was what I was asking. I was like, is this any relation to the any relation to the defensive coordinator there? No, I don't know, man. I hate to bring it up, but like you have to. We're at the 4-game mark. They have a bye week. A lot of time for guys to be thinking, talking, hearing from folks. Like, I don't. What do you think? What do you think?
Yeah. Yeah, man, there's some really irrelevant people in the chat too. So a couple of irrelevant.
All right. We don't need to do that. Hello, Mike. Mike, in all seriousness, I do enjoy the I always forget the damn name of your podcast.
Who's Mike? Who's Mike?
Okay.
Who are you talking about?
I'm talking about Mike Vernon, who is here.
Oh.
I legit enjoy that podcast. Shout out to Nick Schwert, who I think is excellent. You guys are very funny. I have done the same thing and gone and listened after losses before too. Yeah, I don't know, man. I do really seriously wonder, like guys have some decisions to be making. I hate to say it. I hate to speculate about it too much, but I feel like it's a legitimate thing that you gotta question and you gotta wonder about. For people, I should just explain that fully for everybody. You can play 4 games and still preserve your red shirt. So we're at the 4-game mark. And I feel like it's kind of like the worst time to ever have a bye week, right? Like it just gives everybody extra time to sit around and think about it, man.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a risk. I mean, there are conversations that are going to be had over the next couple of weeks. So it's impossible to forecast who was going to do what, but yeah, you're at the 4-game mark. So guys could pull the plug and redshirt. There are some guys that haven't even played 4 games, John, because of injuries. So technically they could play even more and make a decision later and still take that red shirt. And I'm not going to name names specifically, but a lot of you could figure out who those guys would potentially be, and I don't have any inkling on what they would do. But yeah, when things tank and it gets ugly, I don't know what will happen. I mean, look, you could point to like Baylor fans would be like, oh, they started 2-4 last year and rallied, and TCU rallied too. I'd have to go back and look at like what those teams looked like. I imagine it didn't look like this.
Had to look
Right.
better than this. You know, I mean, there were some bad games in there. Baylor, I feel like, was at least fairly competitive. I can remember early in the year, they were like relatively competitive with BYU in a game that they lost. The one that will stick out is, so TCU got completely drilled. They got like, I don't think it was quite 60 balled, but almost 60 balled by SMU. But they were like, it was like pick sixes, special teams touchdowns. They were just kind of sloppy all across the board, and they still scored a bunch of. They still scored like 28 points. You knew that they still had an offense. You knew that Josh Hoover was a dude who could really throw the ball and play quarterback. It's just like there was still something there that you could see that you could build on. Like, my question is, like, what is this team building on right now? Like, what are you building on?
No, they're regressing. I mean, John, we just talked about Avery Johnson. We thought he took a real step in the passing game last week against Army. And I know it was Army, right? But like we were talking about, that looked like maybe the best he'd thrown the ball. And then what's it look like tonight against Arizona?
Yeah.
Man, I mean, they had 34 passing yards until a 31-yard completion to Jace Brown. I mean, really, John, if you look at the totalities of the game, what is it really? You got a 16-yard pass to Jace, a 75-yard run by Jace, and a 31-yard completion to Jace. I mean, those three plays pretty much make up 80% of your offense tonight.
He's the one guy that can like still actually make some plays right now. He's about the only guy that can elevate himself among like up above the muck that's going on right now to actually do something. Yeah.
And frankly, what it felt like, I don't know if your perception was the same, but it kind of just felt like tonight Avery was like, I'm going to Jace no matter what. I trust Jace. And he forced the ball in there. I mean, like Jace made some plays, but he also forced the ball into Jace in some really bad situations.
The last offensive play of the game, it just became so predictable, right? Like you could see when they cut to the view behind Avery, you could see exactly what he was looking at. And I mean, I think it was going to be there, but Arizona's other safety just peeled off whatever he was doing to come over and knock the ball away because he knows where Avery's going with that. Like he's going to Jace. I mean, I do think, you know, we're going to, I guess, cut him some slack for some other things. JB Bradley was definitely the second best option this year in the receiving core. They didn't have him tonight. That is just kind of the way the season's been going. Maybe he would have made a difference. Maybe he would have had a back-breaking drop on fourth down, you know? I mean, because we've also seen that out of him this year. So,
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. And, you know, the tight ends, again, they don't really give you much. And
boy, that tight end room. Lincoln Cure was open on a play early in the game.
He was, yeah.
So there's that. But, yeah, that tight end room. Some drops, not being put in great spots by Wells, you know, all that. All right. Well, Nick tells me that Manhattan High absolutely annihilated Free State tonight. So
that's great.
There we go. That's great. 47-7. Congrats to the Tribe. Roll Tribe, I believe they say. Okay. Well, any final thoughts here? We made it damn near an hour.
I thought we were going to make this short and sweet, but obviously not. There's a lot of things to talk about right now. So see you guys October 31st against Newman. Is that the exhibition opener?
There's a lot of things to talk about for now, Cole, but I do feel like and fear that this is going to get pretty monotonous pretty quickly. Actually, it will be nice to have a bye week this week where, you know, it feels like we've lived an entire season's worth of life since August 30th. Or August 23rd rather. So, you know, it'll be nice to have a little break, but this could get not fun.
Yeah. No. I need to find some other hobbies, maybe pick up side hustle.
Cole, I've been trying to tell you, look, I've got 3 guitars hanging up on the wall over here. If you want to learn guitar, I'll lend you a guitar. You can do that.
Can we form a band?
If you want to do drums or bass, someone in the Discord, by the way, patreon.com/3moss, someone in the Discord had said that they would play bass. I think it was bass. So if you want to pick up the drums, that would be the most productive thing that you could do. Nick actually says he wants to learn guitar. So we could be a 2-guitar band. You need to be the drummer. Cool.
I played trombone in high school. So
all right. Well, I guess we could be a ska band. So
I don't know what that is, but that sounds fun. Whatever it takes. So
all right, Discord, please explain to Cole what a ska band is.
You guys explained some other things to me tonight too. Could use some of that too. Ska's
not dead. Ska's not dead.
Yeah, I need to pick up some hobbies. It's going to be a long next 2.5 months, and we'll get through it together. And look, teams bounce back in the following season. Florida State's doing it right now, right? So
yeah,
can bounce back next season. But I think this is opening up a rabbit hole. So we don't need to go down this, but like it's becoming pretty apparent. Like we talked about it last week. There's too much coaching continuity on this staff. They need new blood, et cetera. So like it's going to be a very interesting, next 8 to 10 weeks, and then off season for Kansas State football as they get there, because what Chris Kleiman does with his staff, what happens, like it is very clear there are going to be a lot of changes.
Yep, no doubt. Hey, speaking of the bands, thank you, Cocaine Willie. It is a great Story So Far shirt. I'm going to see the Story So Far in St. Louis on Tuesday. So see, Cole, this is the thing, man. You start getting into music. Concert season is typically in the fall. Blink-182 is coming to KC pretty soon. Catching them in St. Louis also. So I'm going to be able to get away. A little bit. It'll be nice.
Can I come?
Yeah, I would love to take you to probably Blink-182. You would probably have more fun at that than you would the Story So Far.
Yeah.
But
hey, you know what? The pumpkin patch season will be fun too. I'll be able to engage more with my family in pumpkin patch time this year. So
that's that's true, Cole. I was talking to a fan of the show the other day that I saw out in the wild, and I started to say that I was like, I was like, I'll be okay. I have other interests and hobbies and things like that, and I was like, Cole, but then I stopped and I was like, well, Cole does have like a whole ass family that, it's just me here. So like, Cole could just lean into his family, but hey,
I could. I'm if you can't tell, I'm at Quiet Waters Quilting Retreat right now here in Council Grove. We got a nice quilt right here. Where's that at? Right there. So that's where I'm at the moment, and I'm going to go head out on the water right now. So
I didn't get an invite this year, so
sorry. It's been a very limited time. We should have just had you out here tonight. You could join us out on the boat here at 1:15 in the morning.
I'm a little worried. Tell anybody that's going to be out there with you to keep an eye on you, please. I'm a little worried about what may happen.
John, I'm setting sail, and wherever the wind may take me.
Okay.
On the 400-acre city lake of Council Grove, wherever it shall take me, I shall go tonight.
Cole's gonna pop up way out deep in the Atlantic by tomorrow afternoon. Hopefully that'll be all right.
Yeah. And appreciate Riverbank Brewing tonight. Was watching the game there and with those fine folks. So
yes. Yeah. Shout out.
All right.
Thank you, Riverbank Brewing. Thank you, Holiday Distillery. Thank you, Alenko, for all your home improvement needs. Thank you, Nick Springer.
John, a lot of people are going to need Alenko because this football team's made them probably take a baseball bat to their TV, to their walls, to their homes, So they're going to need a lot of home remodeling needs. So contact Alenko if you're anything like me.
That is true.
Them. So
that is true. That is very true. ALENCOhome.com, people. You know the deal. Thanks to Nick for hanging out with us. It does not feel like it's 1:19. These 8 o'clock games kill me. All right. Well, hey, at least you can enjoy football tomorrow with some Ben Holiday Bottled and Bond bourbon. It'll be great. Thank you for tuning in to 3 Mod tonight, and we will talk to you all very soon.